I need glasses. To top it all off, that was a pun right there. So if you didn't get that, look up what is a pun on Google, it will tell you. Okay. Last video we made a cage for a skeleton. This is pretty amazing. I just mean the truck being so amazing is amazing. I love this thing absolutely with all my heart. And it has a little bit of crazy prototype stuff in it that I can't show off because it's too amazing. And what we did is we made a tube cage, all steel, not brake line, all steel, in the last video. Go look at that. It's on the bench section. So now that the cage is installed in the vehicle, which you can go check out over there, I decided that the top, being this wonderful frog green, just had to be reused. I don't know what I was thinking, but I decided to chop all of the window sections out on both sides, and thanks to that, and I had to take out the posts. There was 4 posts in the roof that attached it onto the body. I had to cut those out with the Dremel. Now I can reuse this. Here's the cool part. There's actually pins on the top. So right up here on the front window edge, there's these pins right here. And they fit into 3 holes that are on the top of the window pillar right here. Right along the top there, 3 holes. Still have the pins right there, 3 pins. So now the pins can fit directly onto the windscreen top, and voila. So this is very, very nice fitting, man. I'm telling you, I'm super stoked about this. So I can put the roof on if I want to, but of course the cage stole all the mounting holes for the roof. So how am I supposed to mount the roof? We're going to do that today, and that's what this video is about. So stay tuned and get out your notepad. Here we go. I've said this 1,000 times, but this is what I use for almost everything. These are 1/2-inch ring magnets. I will put a link in the video description below so that you guys can actually see which ones I'm using. Literally, they're neodymium ring magnets. That's it. They're 1/2-inch OD. They have a 1/4-inch ID hole in the middle. Ring magnets are stronger than solid magnets for a lot of technical reasons that I'm not paid enough to understand. And so what we're going to do is keep the roof on the truck so it doesn't fall off, and we're going to use ring magnets to do it, and the entire process will start just like this. This is so easy at this stage with this particular truck. I can't wait to show this off, because if you decided you're going to make a cage kind of like this, this will also work for you, and without having to do any body mods, this is so great. So you will see here my center tube is slightly lower than my side tubes. This is just a little bit lower than my side tubes. Just a little bit. See that? Not much, but it is. So when the roof goes on, I have a little bit of a gap in here across the top. What we're going to do is actually drop on a couple of these ring magnets, and it turns out that the gap that I have is almost 2 magnets thick. The roof actually sits just above this tube. You see how the tube is below the roof line right here. It's below the orange, or the green, sorry, paint, below the paint. So what that means is when the magnets are on, the roof is basically right here. Now, you know where this is going, huh? So what I'm going to do is put the 2 magnet sets on here. I just double stacked them so they sit there. It's nice. And then I'm going to put the roof on just like this, and then I'm going to look inside from underneath and see where they fit. So if I look inside, I can see that on this side here, I can push down on this side right here, and I can see it hitting the magnet, and it's basically, there's the amount of space there is like minimal, not enough to worry about. The glue will hold that. I'll tell you that in a minute. On this side, because the tubes are not exactly perfect like in every possible way, this side there's a little bit of a gap between the roof and the magnet, and if I push down on the roof for whatever reason, the roof's bent or whatever reason, there's a gap there. So what I'm going to do is take a little tiny piece of styrene. I'm going to put it on top of the magnet first. I'll have to turn my magnet over because it's all being weird. And then I'm going to put the piece of styrene on top of it. Hopefully it will stay there like that. Then I'm going to put the roof on. I'm using that piece of styrene as a filler, okay? Basically that's all I'm doing. So I took a little thin piece of styrene and I put it on top of the magnet, and I tried to fill in the gap between the roof and the magnet so that now there's no gap. And we'll check that. Of course the other side is the same, it's touching. This side is now perfect. So that means that if I glue the spacer on this side and then the two magnets, and if I glue just the two magnets on this side, right where they are right now, I will have a double ring magnet contact that will hold the roof onto the steel cage. That is amazing. We're going to do that right now, because it's so incredibly easy. This isn't going to stay on for a comp, okay? The roof is going to be gonzo. But for, I'm guessing, light trail riding, who actually does that? For light trail riding, it'll probably stay on. For show and shine, it'll stay on. For putting it on the shelf, on the wall rack or whatever, it'll stay on. The good news is it's not going to just, like, you know, flop around. So that's the whole point. I'm never going to drive it with this roof on. I'm quite sure of that, but I wanted to make sure it would stay on the vehicle when it was time to show it off. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take all this stuff off. First things first, I'm going to get out the masking tape, and I'm actually going to cover up the tube work here, because what I don't want to see happen is I don't want my shoe goo to leak through the magnet hole and end up gluing the magnet onto the tube. Bad idea. So I'm going to just put a couple pieces of tape on that. That's it. Simple. 2 pieces of masking tape. I'm going to put the magnets back on. They smack on there pretty hard, eh? Like, it's amazing. So I should have no issues with those staying on there, like actually attaching the roof. So I'm going to try to get them centered on the tube as best I can, like that. And then I'm going to get my shoe goo, which is right here. Shoe goo. You can also use E6000, which is amazing, but shoe goo works great. What I'm going to do is put some shoe goo on the top of the magnet. Okay, like that. Quite a bit, actually. I'm putting like another magnet worth of shoe goo on top of the magnet, like that. And then I'm going to take my little styrene spacer, which is just a thin piece of black styrene. I'm going to rub it around the magnet on top to get some glue off it, and then turn it upside down and put it back on the magnet. So now it's been glued. Maybe I'll add a little more just because. Alright, that's it for that. Put the lid on that ASAP. So now what I've got is 2 magnets stuck on the roof, with the one side has a little spacer. I'm going to take the roof and put it back on top where it's actually supposed to go. Pins in first. Click on the way down. Right, there we go. Just like that. Now, here's a good question. How do you know if the glue and the magnets and all that stuff is actually in the right place and they're doing their job and they're not going to fall off? Well, that's why you take 2 more ring magnets, 1, 2, and you literally drop it on the roof. Boom. That thing, watch this. I mean, this is so crazy. I'm going to take this ring magnet. That thing is going to find those other magnets underneath and just jam. Done. So that will not fall off. Now what's actually happening is the 2 magnets are actually being sucked together like this over top of the roof plastic, right? So they are going to stay as squished as they can to the roof plastic. The other side of the magnet is trying to stick it onto the roof cage because it's a steel cage. And this whole thing now is just going to sit here and get glued on, and that's it. Now, I don't want the shoe goo leaking out onto my interior, so I'm going to flip over the truck like this. That, of course, it stays on. We already know we just did this. Look, it's already going to be amazing. So I'm going to put this thing on its roof, right there, just like that. I should probably prop this up with a car tire. There we go. Done. I'm going to leave that there. It'll sit here for several hours so that that thing can dry. I can actually look inside now and actually see that I did everything right and it looks good, and it does. I'm going to leave this alone and come back to this probably in 12 hours, whatever. Tomorrow morning I'll come back and pull this all apart and take all the tape off and drop off the other 2 extra magnets, and we will be done. Magnet on cage. You ready? I don't have the technical skills to make that time-lapse clock go around, but anyway, it's done. So, hours later, here we go. We're going to see what happened. And I haven't checked this yet, but I'm sure it's fine. So, before I take the magnets off, I'm going to get this thing off of the cage. And just to make sure I don't end up wrecking the glue, I'm going to push this up from the bottom. Just to make sure, you know what I mean? You just got to make sure, because it's not been 24 hours yet. And now I can get rid of these. Take these 2 off the outside. And there we go. I mean, it's that easy. That's it. So I'm going to whack this on here and show you what this looks like on the inside here. It's kind of cool. This should be super awesome. I'm so excited to get that done. I really wanted to find a way to save this roof. Like, that just clicks right on there. That is totally bonkers. Now, inside, magnet. Look at that thing. Sits right on the cage. Oh, man. All right. There we go. We're done. I'm so happy to get that on. And now it's just interchangeable. I can take it off, put it on for shows, whatever. I really, really like the look of it. Oh, man, I'm so happy to have that done. This is great. Thanks so much for coming along for this ride. This has been great fun. And thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. Put all your comments and likes right there in the video down below. And I'm going to be happy to read all your comments. So thanks so much for coming along on this journey. And hopefully we'll see you on the trail soon. Bye-bye.